In 5 years, you'll be the same person you are today, except for two things: the people you meet who inspire you, and the books you read that empower you.
Welcome to the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast, the #1 resource for automotive sales professionals, managers, and owners to learn how to make money, accumulate wealth, and to all out ball out in the auto industry. And now your hosts, Sean V. Bradley and L.A. Williams.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is L.A. Williams, and I'm here live on the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast. And man, I've got a phenomenal guest for you today. This gentleman I've been knowing for 6 or so years, man. We connected years ago. He's wrote many books. He's a phenomenal author. He's actually spoken at the marriage conference that my wife and I got married at. And so, man, this gentleman, he has just credits beyond belief. And so without further ado, I'm just going to introduce to you my real life friend, Dr. Willie Jolley. What's happening, Doc?
My brother, it's a privilege and a pleasure to be in your presence. And you know I start the same way. I have only just a minute, only 60 seconds in it. It's forced upon me. I can't refuse it. I didn't seek it. I didn't choose it, but it's up to me to use it. I must suffer if I lose it, give account if I abuse it. Just a tiny little minute, but my eternities are wrapped up in it. Grateful for this minute, this moment, to be with my main man, L.A. Dub Williams. Man, it's a pleasure.
Oh man, absolutely. So man, it's like, and that right there, you always generally kick, your stuff off with that poem, and it's amazing, and it just tells so much. So really quickly, we're talking to the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast, and when it comes to making money, right, which is the topic of conversation, how does a minute? Can you talk a little bit about how that, just paying attention to every minute of the day, how that affects what we do every day?
Well, first of all, I want to say that it's the Millionaire Car Podcast. I had the honor of speaking at the $1 Million Roundtable, which is the performers who had created $1 million success stories in the financial services industry. I did that a couple years ago and went on to be they're considered one of the top messages they had in over 30 years. Mm-hmm. And so I am excited about being on this because there's so many car salesmen who have the potential to become $1 million performers year after year, but they need to understand what it's going to take and what the mindset is that it will take to get there. So one thing about every minute, that we have 1,440 minutes per day. Everybody's given the same amount of time. Now, what I've learned about everybody who's listening is that everybody on here can make more money. There's everybody who's listening can make more money, but no one who's listening can make more time. You got 1,440 minutes per day, and when your time is up, it's up. There's nothing you can do to make more time in that day, but you can make the most of that time if you're willing to develop yourself and to grow your thinking so that you will see time as an asset. It's not just a passing thing, but you will see time as a critical tool. So sometimes when you're wasting time, you will be realizing that you should be making money during that time. And so that's the first thing about every minute. Second is about, as I said, mindset. I have a new book called An Attitude of Excellence. Now, attitude of excellence is two words that are critically important in your success journey. And it was built after my work with a little company you know well, Ford Motor Company. In 2006, I got the call from Ford Motor Company. They were on the brink of bankruptcy. I worked with Ford in 2006, 2007, 2008. In 2009, Ford was the only one of the big three automakers to be able to reject the government bailout. They went from losing millions a month in 2006 to making billions in 2009. Now, did the economy go up between 2006 and 2009? No. Did circumstances in America go up? No. What changed? Thinking. When you change your thinking, you will change your future. When you change your thinking, you will change your results. When you change your thinking, you will change your revenue. And so that is why I love the fact that Jim Rohn, the great business philosopher, said that you need to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Because if you work harder on yourself than you do on your job, you will make more money on your job and have more fun with yourself. So this whole attitude of excellence mindset is a dual mindset. First, attitude. Your attitude literally does determine your altitude. It determines every part of your success journey. Your attitude, because stuff is going to happen. Life is going to happen. Setbacks are going to happen. Difficulties are going to happen. But it's your attitude that ultimately makes the difference between those who win consistently and those who don't. Then there's excellence. So attitude first, and then, which is mindset, then excellence, which is skill set. First, you work on your mind, then you work on your skills, you pursue attitude, a positive mental attitude, and then a spirit of excellence, and you're going to make some money. You're going to have one of those kind of amazing kind of Ford stories. So in the book, I talk about two things. First half of the book is how you build your business. Second half of the book is how you build yourself, because great people tend to give great service. Good people tend to give good service. Mediocre people can only give mediocre service, and negative people will kill your finances, your future, and your company. So you got to grow the person who is starting with is you. And so that is why this book, Attitude of Excellence, has had such a profound impact on businesses. Many corporate groups now who bring me to come speak have made it mandatory reading. Fortune 100 companies around the globe have made it mandatory reading for their people and for the leaders. So I'm going to give everybody who's listening a free chapter, because I want some millionaires, billionaires. I want some massive success stories that come from this podcast, because anybody who's a friend of L.A. Dub Williams is a friend of mine. So go to attitudeofexcellence.com, attitudeofexcellence.com to get your free chapter. It will bless your business and bless your life.
Absolutely. And that's phenomenal. And thank you so much for that, first of all. So, wow. So here's the thing, because I work with all types of people. And I think the people who are listening to this podcast that's your audience. Those are the people who, will take heed to your word, right? How do they get that message to the negative/mediocre people? How do we raise people up? Because that is, I know personally, as a personal trainer, I'm always working on people's minds and things. How do we raise people up to get them that say to them that, listen, life does not happen. You can't let life happen by default. It should happen by design, and that they absolutely be the leader and the captain of their life. How do we get that message through to people? What do you think?
Well, I've been speaking for about 25 years. I started my speaking business in the youth market, and people would say, oh, my God, you got to go into these schools, these inner city schools, or these very difficult alternative schools. How are you going to motivate these kids? Well, everybody got something they want. Everybody.
Okay.
And so just like a man who goes fishing for fish, give something on the hook that the fish want, the same is true for how I find a way to motivate people. I motivate people within my organization, people in corporate groups. I motivate people in big rallies, sales rallies around the world. So first you got to find out what people want. Some people are motivated by money. And so you got to say, do you want more money? Well, yes. Okay, they put up their hand. You got to get them to raise their hand. How many of you in this room want more money? And those who do say, now that I know what you want, let me help you get there. But some people are motivated by time. I was speaking in Australia for a big network marketing group. And network marketing, when you speak for them, they send a host couple to pick you up at the airport to take care of whatever your needs are, and to be in the car with you that drives back to the hotel, and to just make you very comfortable, so you're not just in a limo by my wife and I by ourselves. So this host couple, they're waiting at the gate when we land, and they say, we're your host because they got us signed up. Dr. Jolley, we're so excited you're here. And I was excited to meet them. And I said, okay, why don't y'all, as we riding back to the hotel, tell me a little bit about yourself. Well, the husband said, I'm a brain surgeon. And the wife said, I'm a heart surgeon. And I said, what? Well, why are you in this network marketing company? They said, cause we're not motivated by money. We make a lot of money. We're motivated by time. We need more time. See, we're trying to buy back our time. We're tied to our pages, and we're tied to our profession. We want to be able to have residual income. We want to be able to have money coming in so we can spend more time with our children and grandchildren. So some people are motivated by money. Some are motivated by time. I had an assistant one time. She was motivated by travel. So I would say to her, you hit these goals, I'll send you away on a week vacation to St. Martin, to wherever you want to go in the Caribbean. And she would work like a little beaver because that was what motivated her. So first, if you got people who are not working up to their potential and possibilities, are not performing, you've got to do two things. One, you've got to change well, first of all, you got to get what motivates them, what gets them fired up, what they're interested in. So once you do that, you've got their interest. Say, you want more money, you want more time, you want more travel, whatever it is. Now, after you do that, then next, you've got to change their thinking. You got to change their thinking. Remember, their thinking is what determines your future. So you got to change their thinking. How do you do that? Well, inputs determine outputs. Inputs determine outputs. That's why you got to give them resources. It's amazing that I find that major corporations, top-tier corporations, Johnson & Johnson, Procter & Gamble, Marriott, Hyatt, they bring me in to speak. Now, they're already leading the field. They're already leading the field. But they bring me in to speak to their people, and they're already winning in the market share game. Why would they do that when they're already winning? Because they figured it out. We got good people. They're doing well. Now, how do we keep them going well? How do we keep them fired up? Bring it to Dr. Jolley. Pay his fee. I know it's expensive. I know he's got a 5-figure speaking fee and his travel and all of that. That's worth it. Because if we bring him in and he helps our good people who are doing good already go to the great level, we're going to make 10 times more, 100 times more than what we paid him. So they invest in themselves and they invest in their people. One of the things I found about great success stories, they always invest in themselves. When I was a new speaker, I kept hearing about a guy who was creating millionaires in the speaking industry. Mm-hmm. He was in North Carolina. And I said, wow, I want to know more about this guy. So I called his office, and the lady said, is it true what I heard that he makes millionaires? She said, absolutely true. I said, okay. I said, now I'm going to ask you a question. Are you serious? She said, well, here are people who have been here who went from making, $100,000 to making $1 million in a year. I said, what? Yeah, she named some people. I said, I know all of them. Man, they're killing it. I said, well, you know what, ma'am? I need to come to this seminar. Now, at that point, L.A., I was making about $150 a speech, okay, $150 a speech. Mm-hmm. And so this lady, I said, I'm thinking it's going to cost, I want to go up to her seminar. I think it's going to cost me maybe $400-500, so I said, well, I'll just get, my little monies together. So I say to her, I said, ma'am, when's the next seminar? She said, we've got one seminar left, and we've only got one seat left in that seminar. Oh, ma'am, that's my seat. That is my seat. I want to reserve that seat. I want to come. I said, okay, great. And I said, now, how much is it? She said, $10,000. I said, what you say? She said, $10,000. I said, for 2 days? He said, $10,000. And in my mind, I said to myself, forget that. I'll learn that stuff at home on my own. But a smarter, brighter, more wiser part of me remembered something I had heard once in a program, that there is a price for success. There's a price for success. And then there's a cost for not being willing to pay the price. There's a price to go to college. There's a price to go to trade school. There's a price to go to the seminars, the sales seminars. There's a price to go to anything that's going to help you grow your business. There's a price to it. And then there's a cost when you don't pay that price. The cost of being at the same place next year this time as you are this year. The cost of losing and wasting time. I already told you can't make more time. You can make more money, but cannot make more time. Your time is most valuable. So I've already told you that. So knowing that, if you are at the same place next year this time as you are today, then you have wasted a year of your life. And that could have been a year where you could have blown the socks off your income, your revenues. And so in that moment, I had to make a decision. And I said, ma'am, I'm coming. I'm coming to the seminar. Now, I'm going to send you a deposit. I only had $250 in my bank. I said, I'm going to send you a deposit. I'll send you a check, and I'll send you the rest shortly. And I wrote a check, put it in the mail, and then I went to work. I begged, I borrowed. I didn't steal, but I begged and borrowed everybody I could to get that money up. And I got that money up, and I went to that seminar. And I came back and quickly made $100,000. And the next year, when he had it, not only did I pay for my $10,000, but I bought my wife a registration because I wanted her to grow like I was growing. And that was $20,000. And the next year, he went up to $15,000. And I paid for two of us to go at $15,000 each. And it was worth every penny. And it grew my business because it changed my thinking. I'm saying to you, everybody who's listening, that if you want to have greater success, sales success, it starts by becoming a better you. Better you. You know, I said something in my Attitude of Excellence book that I think is profound. I said, you know, I have to have a conversation with myself. Willie, if you want better children, you got to be a better parent. Willie, if you want a better marriage, you got to be a better partner. Willie, if you want a better life, you got to be a better you. Come on, somebody. And so that's why I made a decision to invest in myself, to grow myself. I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars going to seminars, getting books, going to programs, investing in resources. I'm telling you, ever come to my house, LA, you'll see there are books everywhere. There are audio programs, there are DVDs. We got it everywhere. Bathroom, we got books. The kitchen got books. Everywhere we got books because we realize those books. I might not read them all, but sometimes I read one line and that's all I need to get the right message for my success. So I'm telling people what they got to do is they got to invest in their thinking. In fact, let me do this. I recently spoke for the Billionaire Mastermind Forum. Incredible organization, Billionaire Mastermind Forum. And I had a tremendous response. They were fired up. I'm telling you, the leading edge folks are always trying to better their best. They're trying to figure out what's the next level. So they said, we want a package from you to help us go to the next level. And I created a box called the Wow Box, the Willie Jolley Wow, W-O-W, Wow Box. And it's got all my resources. The Millionaire Mindset with me and Les Brown. It's got my youth videos for your teenagers who distract you. It's got our marriage stuff. It's got materials that help you double your business. I did a program in Australia called How to Double Your Business in a Year. All of these programs are in this big old box. It's packed with stuff. It's a $2,000 box. But if you go to williejolly.com/billionaire. That's like a secret page on my site, and I only give it to my friends. It's a secret page that I created for the Billionaire Mastermind Forum. You can get it at a tremendous discount. So go to williejolly.com/billionaire. And I'm telling you, you will be inspired by the resources in there. It'll not only inspire you, but your family, your children, your cousins. I mean, it will change your life. I got an idea for you.
Okay.
Anybody who goes to williejolly.com/billionaire and orders the box and then sends me an email with a receipt that they did it, then we're going to find one more. I got a new product, brand new, not even out yet, and it's going to be my gift to them, and it's going to change their whole operation. So they all they got to do. I won't tell you about it. Just know it's one of the most profound new products I'm creating. And if you go to williejolly.com/billionaire, you order the box and send me an email at info@williejolly.com. Info@williejolly.com. Say, hey, I ordered the box. I heard you on the program with L.A. Dub Williams, and I want the super duper gift. Okay, and
nice.
you send that. That's how we're going to make sure. See if people serious. You know what I found out? Les Brown said something to me one time, L.A., that we were talking. We were in L.A. We were in L.A. Anyway, we were having lunch and we were just talking. And we've been on tour for the last 4 years with the Get Motivated tour. Many people would come to that tour. They know that tour would be at arenas around the country. For many years, it was Zig Ziglar and General Colin Powell as the featured speakers. And
right.
then Zig passed away. And General Powell, he said he didn't want to do it anymore because he was 80 years old. So Les took over for General Powell. I took over for Zig Ziglar. And so we were hitting every city around the country doing these arenas. But anyway, Les and I were talking, and he said something I'll never forget. He said, Willie, you know what? Most people are seriously not serious. Woo! They are serious. They say out of their mouth, I want to be successful. I want to be wealthy. I want to live my dreams. But then their actions are not consistent. Mm-hmm. They won't invest in themselves. They'll spend $1,000 going out to a party weekend somewhere, or one of their friends is having a destination event. They spend, $1,800 on a plane ticket and a hotel and have a party for the weekend, but they don't ever invest in themselves at that level so that they could buy their own plane, so that they could get their own hotel. So I just say, invest in yourself and do that. I think it will have a profound impact on your future.
100% agree with you. And here's the piece that I want to share with people is that just like Dr. Willie Jolley, he only had $250 at the time, right? Even though the seat was $10,000. And so people go, well, what if? And it always follows with something negative, right? I'm like, see, if you think of that's what the challenge is right there. It's that mental, what if something negative? How about what if something positive? What if you fight, scratch, and claw, and you actually, come up with the $10,000 and you actually spend that money, you actually, invest that money, and you actually change your life? What if that? If people learn to focus on thinking of that, that's how they change. How do you explain it? Because to me, it seems very simple. Explain that to people. Yeah.
Well, people will say, well, what if it don't work? I'll tell you a story. Right. One of the guys on the Get Motivated tour was Dr. Dave Martin. And Dr. Dave Martin speaks about how he changed his life. He talked about how one day he went to a seminar like the Get Motivated seminar. Mm-hmm. And this was, some years ago. And he and his buddy went, they took off from their job. They were laborers. I think they did roofing. And he said they took off that day because they said, this roofing is killing us. We're out in the hot sun. We need to make more money. He had a family. He was a young family. So he went to this seminar, and the guy on the stage was just phenomenal, giving lots of profound, pragmatic principles for prosperity and success. At the end of his talk, the guy said, look, I've got a package for you. The package is $2,500. $2,500. And the guy said, that man must be crazy. They were selling a $2,500 package. I like what he had to say and all that, but what if this stuff don't work? And Dave didn't say nothing. So Dave said, I'm going to go down and look at the package. So the guy walked with him down there. And they stood at the table. And the lady said, it's $2,500. And Dave said, you know what? I think I'm going to get it. And the guy said, well, what if it don't work? He said, you think this is worth $2,500, Dave? You think this is worth $2,500? Dave said, that's the last $2,500 I got. He said, no, man, you want to pay your last $2,500 for this package? You think it's worth it? Dave said, I don't know if the package is worth it, but I am worth it. I'm worth it. And that's when he changed. He bought that package. He went home and he invested not only his money, but his time in going through the package. He read the books. He listened to the audios. He watched the DVDs. He got that information, and he went to work. Well, today, Dave Martin has a home in Phoenix and a home in Florida. He flies between the two homes in his private jet. He would fly to the events that get motivated on his private plane. Folks, are you worth it? Are you worth it? Are your dreams worth it? Is your family worth it? Man, I mean, I think about that situation. That could have been me. $10,000 when I only have $250. Is it worth it? What if it don't work? But what if it does work? What if it does work? Am I worth it? Yeah, I'm worth it. I'm worth it. I'm worth it. I'm worth it. And that's what I made that decision. And let me tell you, changed my life.
Yeah.
So I'm encouraging people. I want more people to be successful. That's why I give these discounts on these products, because you know what? I'm not going to get all my profit out of that, but it's okay. I'm paying for the price of the product. But it could be that product that changes somebody's life who will come back years from now and say, you know what? I heard you. Like the guy in Australia or the guy in New Zealand who was 55th in his office of 60 people in sales. He was just struggling, barely making it work. He came to hear me speak. He bought some of my resources at the ARIC, Australian Real Estate Conference in Sydney. And he went in the next year from 55th to number 5 in the office. And the second year, he went to number 2. And the third year, he was number 1. And he credits my materials and my programs with his change of thinking. I want people to change their thinking. I want people to change their focus, and I want them to win. So, you know, and that, by the way, that guy has invested over the years and events that I've done and so forth. So I won't make the money on this front end. I'm just having a relationship on the long run. And we'll have some success stories, some people who said, it worked for me. All right? It worked for me. So that's my thinking.
That's beautiful. And I actually teach that same thing. I have my son, he just turned 10. And one of the conversations that I have with him is, you know, sometimes when we're driving, I'm like, you know, my wife might say we passing by some fields and I'm like, look over there, what you see? And he might see grass, he might see weeds, right? Oh, it's just some weeds over there. It's just some weeds over there. And we keep looking and I keep asking him, what? He's like, it's weeds everywhere. I'm like, do you think that the farmer had to do anything to get those weeds to come up? No, absolutely not. The weeds just come up. The cobwebs just come up. The negative thoughts just come. The work involves getting rid of the weeds, right? The work is involved in pulling out the weeds and making something positive grow, right? That's where the work comes in. That's what I try to get across to people that, listen, the success just don't come to you naturally. That's not how, if it worked that way, everybody'd have it. And so we got to put the work in. We got to put the effort in to clear out the cobwebs, clear up the weeds, right? So that you can actually plant a field of positive seeds so that you can actually make something grow in your life. So 100%. That's beautiful stuff. So,
oh man, I love that. I love that. Oh, let me chime in on what you just said about the work.
Yeah.
You know, my doctorate. My doctorate is in faith-driven achievement. And what I did when I wrote my dissertation, did the research, I made the distinction between being rich and being wealthy, one, and then having some some success and having achievement. Okay, and so first, rich. A lot of folks are rich, and they did it usually from a number of ways to become rich. But the problem, well, not the problem. I'd rather be rich than poor. Let's put it like that first.
Absolutely.
But if I had to have a choice, I'd be wealthy. Now, what's the difference? Well, rich is singular generational. Okay, athletes are rich. Singers are rich. Rappers are rich. Some business people are rich because they had a gift, they had a talent, they had an ability, and they used that ability or that gift to make money, and they made a lot of it. But if a kid can't sing or play basketball or write books or speak or whatever, then that kid, that family won't be able to sustain it over the next number of generations. Wealthy, on the other hand, is when you take rich and you invest it, and then it starts to make money that you can see over generations. It's generational. And, I love what T.D. Jakes said. He said, you give a man a fish, we all know he eats for a day. Mm-hmm. You teach him to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime. Mm-hmm. But if you can help him buy the pond, his great-great-great-grandchildren will eat. So that's what we want to help people do, and it takes work. Yes. Achievement always takes work. So my dissertation is a new theology of achievement, and that's one of the books that will be out in 2020. And that book is talking about the fact that you've got to have a faith. I talk about my faith, and people have faith in numberless things, but I have faith in a God faith. But beyond having the faith is making that faith workable. It's something that makes me work and gets me up in the morning and gets me fired up and gets me going, and then that work will generate some results. So achievement takes work. You can, like I said, you can have some success. A guy who hits the lottery, he's had success. He's made, $100 million or whatever they get. But statistics show that people who hit the lottery are often broke in 5 years because they had the money, but they didn't have the mindset for wealth. But then the people who built their wealth incrementally, who built it brick by brick by brick, they went through the struggles, they scratched and clawed, they did the work. Well, when they hit millions or billions, then they understand the mindset that it took to get there. That's why it takes work. One other thing about this, my friend Michael V. Roberts, one of America's great African-American billionaires, he and his brother, Stephen, in St. Louis, he made something was profound. He makes all his children get not just a college degree, but a law degree. He said, I don't care if they practice law or not, but I want them to be critical thinkers because, he said, I want them to understand how hard it is to achieve. And then he gives them, after that, he gives them each a hotel. He's a hotelier. He gives them a hotel with a mortgage attached.
Beautiful.
He said, I gave them a hotel with a mortgage attached because I want them to struggle to pay off the mortgage, just like I had to struggle. It's in the struggle that the muscles are made. Then he says one other thing. He says, I give them a mortgage so that they can struggle. But they've seen me struggle, so they understand that success is a struggle. But more importantly, he said, Willie, more importantly, their children see them struggle. Mm-hmm. Their children see them struggle because studies show that wealth is squandered in the third generation. Third generation, who never saw struggle. When they were born, they were riding around in a big Mercedes. They had a silver spoon in their mouth. They've never seen struggle, so they don't never understand money. They don't understand the value. So they just blow it, i.e. Paris Hilton. Third generation.
You got a lot of value, man. That's why I'm just kind of sitting back and coasting, but you are really blessing the listener. So thank you so much for that. So here's what I'm going to just kind of give the people some of your personal story. There's some stuff that I want to add, but what do you think was holding you back from becoming the you of today? I mean, you're pretty darn awesome. You wrote all these books, you're spending all this time, you're speaking everywhere. What do you think was holding you back from becoming the you of today?
Yeah, thank you so much. That's a great question. Well, first, let me give them my story. I think you're right. Some people say, well, I don't want to assume people know who Dr. Willie Jolley is. Mm-hmm. I am a guy who was a former nightclub singer. Used to sing in nightclubs, dark, dank, folk, smoke-filled nightclubs. And I made my living singing in nightclubs. And one day I went to a nightclub. The club owner said, we love you. You're popular. The people love you. But the owners of the club have decided they got to get a better return on investment. And the only way to do that with a full nightclub is to lower the cost. And we're going to try something new that's going around the country. We bought a karaoke machine. I said, but what about my bills? And I learned that night nobody cares about you and your bills, but you and the people you owe. And the people you owe want their money, and you want to pay your bills. Well, I was discouraged. I was so upset because I worked so hard to help them build their nightclub. Well, I didn't know what I was going to do. A friend of mine gave me a motivation cassette tape. I'd never heard of motivational tape. And on that tape was a guy who said, in 5 years, you'll be the same person you are today, except for two things. The people you meet who inspire you and the books you read that empower you. Wow. And I started reading books, which I've told you about already. I started meeting great people. Some of them I met live in person, like that guy who helped me to go from, broke to making that first $100,000 and like that. But some of them I met by audio tape. Some of them I met by videotape who had gone on, who had left us, but were still their wisdom was still available via recordings. And that changed my life. I took a job with the Washington, D.C. public school system as a drug prevention coordinator, talking to little kids about staying away from drugs. From the little kids, the teachers would say, can you come to my teachers group? Someone there would say, can you come to my church? Someone there would say, can you come to my company? And it started growing. Then Les Brown heard about this guy who was a speaker and a singer and invited me to be on tour with him and Gladys Knight on the Music and Motivation Tour. And they needed an opening act who did both. And he said, you're the guy who everybody's talking about. And so I got an opportunity to be on with them. They introduced me over time to radio people. I got a radio show. It got syndicated. And now you can hear me on Sirius XM with the #1 self-help show in America on Sirius XM channel 141. Oh, but you don't have Sirius XM? No problem. You can hear me on my podcast with iHeartRadio, on Stitcher, C-Suite Radio, iTunes, TuneIn, Spotify, and you can hear it all over the place, The Willie Jolley Wealthy Ways. Because of the radio show and the podcast, I got a call from a book publisher who said, I've been listening to you on the radio. I love your ideas. You ever thought about writing a book? I said, no, I never thought about it. He said, let me make you an offer. I said, I just thought about it. Well, my first book came out called It Only Takes a Minute to Change Your Life. Over 100,000 copies worldwide, been translated into 8 languages. I recently got the newest translation, Korean. I don't know what it says, but it sure does look good. Then my second book came out, A Setback is a Setup for a Comeback. That became a global bestseller, then turned setbacks into greenbacks, bestseller, then Attitude of Excellence, then Chicken Soup for the Soul, then the marriage book, Make Love, Make Money, Make It Last. Oh, by the way, let me give everybody a chapter from the marriage book while I'm thinking about it.
Yeah,
go to Jolley.
Our industry.
Yeah, jollymarriage.com. Jollymarriage.com. My wife and I have been married for over 34 years, haven't had an argument in over 30 years. Now, those first couple of years were like World War III, but we learned some principles, and the principles worked, and we put them in action. They worked for the last 30 years. We put them in the book, and now the book is blowing up around the world at saving marriages, enhancing marriages. We want to save 1 million marriages and enhance 1 million more. Plus, we do a Facebook Live every Monday night at 9 o'clock on my Facebook page called Happily Married Monday with the Jollies, where we give you new tips, interviews with people. So the marriage book blowing up. Anyway, the books came out, the radio was doing well, and then in 1999, I got a call from Toastmasters International. They said, "You've just been named one of the outstanding 5 speakers in the world." I couldn't believe my ears. I said, "You sure you got the right person?" "My name is Willie Jolley." She said, "The one who wrote the book, A Setback Set Up for a Comeback?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "You're the one." I said, "But you just mentioned the other winners who've been awarded this: Colin Powell, Norman Schwarzkopf, Nelson Mandela, Margaret Thatcher, Christopher Reeve." I'm not in that category. I'm a guy who speaks to school kids and the colleges and the corporations and the churches, and I even speak at people's family reunions. I'm a little dog. Those are big dogs. And she said something I'll never forget. She said, "If the little dog keep yapping loud enough and strong enough, big dogs start to hear about you." Moral of the story, just think if I'd never gotten fired and replaced by a karaoke machine. That's my story. First thing. But second thing, you asked, what did I do to change my thinking? And the answer was, I decided to invest in me. I had been a cheapskate. I had been a cheapskate up to that point. I had never read a book. I never read a self-help book. I'd never gone to seminars. But I decided to bet on me. Bob Johnson, who is the founder of Black Entertainment Television, America's first black billionaire, Bob said something when I interviewed him on my podcast that was profound. He said, "Willie, when I started BET, everybody laughed at me. They said it was stupid. Stupid idea, stupid thought, would never work. And I didn't have any background in the television industry, but I had a dream. And I decided to bet on me." Now, most people think BET stands for Black Entertainment Television. That's true, it does. But in my mind, it has a personal meaning. I was willing to bet on me. And I think that's what changed my life when I decided to bet on me. I decided to play, if I'm going to play the lottery, I'm going to play the lottery with me. I'm going to put all my resources on me. And then I'm going to make that become a winning ticket. And so that's what I want to encourage people to do. Bet on yourself. Dream the big dream. I want you to work on your goals and dreams. I want you to work on your thinking, your mindset. I want you to get fired up about your potential. And I want you to go all in. I want you to fight. Swing for the fences. Don't give half-hearted attempts. Go all in. You asked earlier something that struck in my mind. What was the power that people need? I think about a poem that Burton Braley wrote. And if you ever hear Les Brown, he often will end with this point. But it's one of my favorite points as well as Les's favorite point. It says, if you want a thing bad enough, to go out and fight for it, to work day and night for it, to give up your time, your peace, and your sleep for it. If all that you dream and scheme is about it, and life seems useless and worthless without it, if you gladly sweat for it and fret for it and lose all of your terror of the opposition for it, if you simply go after that thing that you want with all of your capacity, strength and sagacity, faith, hope and confidence, and stern pertinacity, if neither cold, poverty, famine, nor gout, sickness nor pain of body and brain can keep you away from the thing that you want, if dogged and grim you besiege and beset it, with the help of God, you will surely get it. You got to want it bad.
Can't just kind of want it. I love it. That's what I'm talking about, man. So one thing I will say, listen, Dr. Willie Jolley is a man of his word. He is not just saying this stuff. He lives it. Let me tell you why he lives it, right? So we've been talking about scheduling this podcast. And because, I wanted to get him live. And he's like, LA, how about we do it right now? And I said, okay, but let's go. I'm looking at my schedule. I got a free couple minutes. Let's do it right now. Like, that's the power of right now. We got to get it done right now. We don't want to waste no minutes. And it was funny because when I originally told my wife we were going to do it at 7:00, the first thing she said was, wow. Like, I know she didn't want to stay at the office, but I'm like, hey, listen, we got to do what we got to do. So when you called and said, let's do it right now, that was exciting, I'm sure, to her. And it allowed us to get some other stuff done, man, because, listen.
Well, that goes back to where we started this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
You asked about the minute. I believe you must make the most of every minute. I knew I had a little time in my schedule. And this minute, I said, okay, how can I make the most of this minute right here? And that's why I want to encourage all your salespeople, all of them who say, I want to do better. I want to do better. I want to do better. I really want to do better. Make the most of the minute. Turn off the television. Mm-hmm. Now, one of the things you got to do, turn off the television. I mean, I probably watch less than I watch less than 10 hours of television per week. Okay, yeah. I watch a little bit in the morning just to see what's going on in the news. I watch a little bit at night to see what's going on in the news. I watch 1 or 2 programs during the week, and that's it. That's it. I got too much to do. I got books to write. I've got messages to create. I've got new products to create. I've got people to coach. You know, I've got coaching clients who pay me, you know, a good amount of money to get an hour of my time on the phone to tap into my brain. They're trying to build million and billion-dollar businesses. They want to know what it's going to take, or they want to be inspired, or they want an idea, or they want some coaching, or they want somebody to bounce a good idea off of. So all of those things are things that I got. I ain't got time for watching television. So, look, I'm just glad I got a friend called L.A. Dub Williams. This man is he's iconic, musician, gifted orator, speaker, just got the whole package. This guy's just awesome.
I appreciate it, man. And you mix my names together. The L.A. Dub from the music industry and my name, L.A. Williams. He always mix it together, which is a beautiful thing, man, because we are all together. So that's excellent. And so, you know, definitely we'll put the links to everything that you talked about in the show notes. And the way that I close this thing out all the time, I tell people that you are the average of the 5 people who you spend the most time with. And you've just been spending time with Dr. Willie Jolley and L.A. Williams, the blind phone master. It is your turn. Go out there and be a millionaire car salesman. Thanks, everybody, for listening, and thanks for joining us, Doc.
My pleasure. God bless you.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you like it, you love it, you want more of it, then don't wait for the next money show. Just go to bradleyondemand.com and take your career to the next level.